Hello, everyone. My name's Alice, and I am poisonous. I mean it. I'm like that viper. The difference is, I have legs and am warm blooded, and recently, I lived in a laboratory where they constantly studied me. I was always normal. Well, ordinary like everyone else. I understand that at the beginning is trivial, and probably you were waiting for something like a female Bear Grylls. Alas, this is a real story, and I'm not a computer game character at all. Anyway, I had a typical childhood with friends and caring parents. We lived in a normal neighborhood, with a normal school. We were a middle class family. My parents always had money to buy me some toys, unless they were too expensive. For the rest of the things, my parents were like everyone else. They worked 9 to 5 and kept saying, "Dear daughter, you gotta study hard if you want to get something good in life." The only thing that distinguished me from the rest of the guys was a normal bite, straight teeth, and my fangs, which were slightly, but quite noticeably elongated. I never paid attention to it, and my dentist said it was okay. She even joked if everyone had such perfect teeth, she would become unemployed. But at 14, me and my friends discovered vampire movies, and we were lost in them. They called me Queen of the Night and started hinting that I craved blood deep in my soul. Or what do vampires have there instead of a soul? Anyway, at first it was fun, but then, honestly, I got sick of all the stupid jokes. I wasn't a vampire fan. I didn't want to constantly suffer from this cosplay. When I was free from friends and parties, I studied. I had a good academic performance. I developed my personality and I read a lot. Mostly my readings were fantasy books and Marvel comics. I especially liked the stories about X-Men, mutants, and many other guys from the Marvel Universe. I believe that vampires were totally unreal. I thought they had no right to live in the real world. I was more about people with extra powers. I also thought it would be great to get some kind of superpower myself, like going through walls or doing some conjuring. I was too naive. I didn't know in reality, superheroes are usually sent for experiments and studies. Like this video if you enjoy comics and superheroes. Write in the comments if you ever wanted to become a superhero. What capacities would you like to have and why? I wonder what we're gonna have here. I met Bob at a party. Nothing special and romantic. He just came up to me. Then he invited me to dance. Then he accompanied me home like a real gentleman. And he took my phone number. We started texting each other. We went out a couple of times. We walked. Then he decided he liked me. I decided I liked him, so we became a couple. I can't say we had a heavenly love, but our relationship was normal. We didn't have some odd insults and scandals. I could never understand this at all. Like when couples swear 24/7. What's the point? We tried to support each other and to be around when necessary. Bob's friends thought I was perfect. My GF said I allowed him too much. Like, I didn't mind going out with his friends. I didn't demand him to report every minute of his life and all the stuff 17-year-old girls usually worry about. I just respected my personal boundaries as well as Bob's. We've been in no hurry with sex for a long time, simply because it wasn't necessary for us. Somehow, we were more interested in other things. Honestly, I had my first kiss with him, and I hadn't thought about sex before. Bob knew this. He was aware I was a virgin and he didn't particularly insist. But we tried something from time to time, of course, like kisses, hugs, and stuff. And one of these game things even got fatal for our relationship, and for me. As in a bad series. We were at his place. He had just started renting a studio to live separately from his parents and closer to his studies and work. So the place was just perfect for us. Well, it was our own territory. I also boasted to my GFs that my boyfriend was serious and thinks about our future, unlike their pals. The evening was quite peaceful. We watched a kind of romantic comedy with kisses and a plain plot. After looking at the main character, I decided to repeat her method of seduction. I jokingly bit Bob by the collarbone. We laughed. Bob joked my friends warned him about my inhumane nature, and he didn't think my vampirism would turn on at his neck. Well, and somehow, we forgot about this. Next day, Bob took me home and handed me over to my parents and went back to his house. We texted a bit in a romantic way. He complained the pizza we ate while watching the movie must have been ill-cooked because his stomach hurt, and I advised him to take a pill and go to bed early. And I fell asleep. And later on, the police came by my house. It turned out, while I was sleeping peacefully, my beloved one was dying in the most terrible way, and in the strangest one, because he was poisoned. After Bob said goodbye to me, he took the pill and went to bed. But after a couple of hours, he had terrible spasms and was only able to call an ambulance and crawl to the door. Later, while he was already in the ambulance and then in the hospital, he was suffering terribly. And in the morning, he died, and as the cops said, without regaining consciousness. Actually, for the first time, the police just wanted to make sure everything was fine with me. Well, they asked me if Bob met that day with someone else, what we ate and stuff. I was so shocked. I could only squeak something dubious, and my parents promised I would go to the police myself when I came to my senses. But there was no need for it, because in the evening, they came for me with handcuffs, because the coroner who examined Bob immediately found a source of strange poison in his body. Yeah, a bite on the collarbone. They put me in jail, and at first they demanded that I confess how and why I poisoned my boyfriend. But I myself didn't understand anything. I cried and couldn't believe Bob was gone. Just yesterday he hugged me and we watched a movie, and today he's simply not there. You understand that from the witness, I became the suspect, and it was no good for me. Anyway, I won't talk long about my torment and nightmares, and put some intrigue because I don't like it. Still, this is not kinda a support group. This is my story. Therefore, I want to cut it short. So, during the trial, errors and interrogations, after talking with the lawyers, and other guys my parents hired to protect me, the investigation came up with an absolutely idiotic idea of mysticism. But doctors confirmed that later. Turned out Bob really was poisoned. By me. I'm not good at medicine, and I don't particularly understand the processes happening in the human body. But as for me, what I learned from the cops was complete nonsense. The fact was that after analyzing my saliva and my fangs, some smart guys in white robes found out I was poisonous. Well, you see, this is ridiculous. Obviously, when I bit Bob, my fangs pierced his skin, and my saliva got into his blood through a couple of bruises. It was proven after the microscopic examination. He got totally poisoned, and then he died. Moreover, if it wasn't for the bite, nothing would have happened. The jury didn't recognize it as malicious intent, but my poison was like HIV, only it reacted instantly. They let me go, because there was no voluntary murder, and it was unlikely the prosecutor could prove I poisoned a man to death with just one bite, even if 100,000 doctors were brought to give their testimony. It's just, my story didn't end there. You see, having poisonous saliva was not a normal occurrence, from different perspectives. What if tomorrow I would go crazy and bite half the city? Or what if I would start methodically spitting at people? Well, a poisonous girl is a very interesting phenomenon to study, you know. So I was released from custody and then taken away somewhere. Honestly, I myself didn't know where I was, because there were no windows in my room, only cameras monitoring my condition. They allowed my parents to come see me once a week. I had everything I needed for life in my room. I had a bathroom, wardrobe, and 5 meals a day. Well, of course, I had all the gadgets and unlimited internet access so that I didn't get bored. The only things that annoyed me were constant tests and analysis. Sometimes I felt my blood would run out before the doctor took the needle out of me. But so far, everything was okay, and I learned to spit in a jar on command. Sometimes, I even spit from a long distance, and I even got 3 points. You would ask me why with the internet and the ability to connect with anyone and other stuff I am still here? Where would I go? Yeah, in fact, I'm captured. Moreover, I'm in a lab, like the one they show in movies about mutants and aliens. But in fact, I'm not a fool, you know. What awaits me when I'm free? My parents are afraid of me. No, they don't show it. They don't shy away. but I see it. By their gestures, their looks, by how my mom checks her hands for scratches every time she touches me. In my hometown, they think I'm a murderer. I am poisonous. Everyone is gossiping about me. Slowly but surely, I'm turning into a city legend. So now, I'm quite comfortable with sitting locked up and doing whatever I want. Maybe I'll help science too. The doctors and scientists should find the cause of my anomaly. Write in the comments if something similar ever happened to you or your friends. Like this video, it's nice. And appreciate every moment of your life, because it can suddenly end in a very unexpected way. Thanks for watching.